Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Colonel John Wheeler, Commander, 33rd Fighter Wing, welcome to the 33rd Operations Group Change of Command Ceremony. I am Technical Sergeant Hester, and I will be your narrator for this morning. Today, in a centuries-old tradition, Colonel Byron Pompa will assume command for Colonel Brian O'Neill. The change of command is the military's formal transfer of command responsibility from one commander to the next. There will be several occasions during this ceremony when it will be appropriate to stand. The first occasion is when the official party arrives, then again when the national anthem is played. In addition, you will be asked to stand for the medal presentations, the change of command transfer, the playing for the Air Force song, and the departure of the official party. At this time, it is my pleasure to recognize the following special guests attending today's ceremony. The Vice Commander, 33rd Fighter Wing, Colonel McFarland. The Command Chief, 33rd Fighter Wing, Chief Master Sergeant Morgan. The Commander, 33rd Maintenance Group, Colonel Moreland. The Superintendent, 33rd Maintenance Group, Chief Master Sergeant Fajardo. And wife of the outgoing 33rd Operations Group Commander, Zoe, and their daughters, Marin and Leah. The wife of the incoming 33rd Operations Group Commander, Sandra, and their children, Alexandra, Aviana, and Landon. We'd also like to extend a warm welcome to all colonels, squadron commanders, chiefs, first sergeants, and all military and civilian guests who are watching from home. We wish you could have been in attendance with us today. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the arrival of the official party and remain standing for the playing of our national anthem and the invocation by Chaplain Spencer.
Good morning. Let us pray. Gracious God, we are extremely grateful this day to call upon your name. God, we know, as you stated, where a few are gathered, you will be there also. Even in troubling times and the unknown, Lord, you continue to bless us. Father, today we honor a historic military tradition. God, a change of command is a time of transition from one leader to another. Thank you, Father, for anointing these great leaders with us here today as they exchange the guidon of command. I pray blessing over Colonel O'Neill as he relinquishes command. Thank you for his dedicated heart to ensure our airmen and families were always prepared to thrive and excel in not only the mission of the 33rd, but in life's mission. May he and his wife Zoe and daughters Marin and Leah find great peace in this upcoming transition. Father, as we welcome Colonel Pompa to the team, I pray you continue to provide him strength, vision, and courage as he assumes command of the 33rd Operations Group. Father, thank you for his wife, Sandra, and children, Alexandra, Aviana, and landed. May they feel welcomed and at home. In closing, God, keep us in your watchful care and shine upon us each and every day. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Commander, 33rd Fighter Wing, Colonel John Wheeler, accompanied by Colonel Brian O'Neill and Colonel Byron Papa. Thank you, Chaplain Spencer. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. It is my pleasure to introduce the Commander, 33rd Fighter Wing, Colonel John Wheeler.
Got to make sure I grab the right speech so I don't give your speech there, Alf. All right, good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. I really wish I could have presided over a ceremony full of an audience of jokers, gorillas, and members of the doghouse. I wish I could tell all the members of the 33rd OG on this momentous occasion how proud I am of them for their accomplishments and their perseverance, how lucky they are to have benefited from Colonel Alf O'Neill's leadership, and how excited they should feel to have Colonel Sweet Pompa here to lead the OG through the challenging and exciting times ahead. But alas, the COVID restrictions in place, I must rely on modern technology to convey these sentiments to the broader audience. I welcome all of you watching from afar, and I thank you for sharing in this celebration of the Nomads Operations Group. Those of you lucky enough to have made it in the room, you guys are important too. This event not only marks a transition from Colonel of Command from Colonel O'Neill to Colonel Pompa, it also marks a transition from active duty to civilian life for Colonel O'Neill. So, although not normal for this type of ceremony, I'm going to take advantage of this platform to talk about Alf a bit through his career and to recognize Zoe, Marin, and Leah for their outstanding contributions, not only to the 33rd Fighter Wing, but to our fellow airmen over the course of 23 years of truly outstanding service. So let's talk about Colonel Brian O'Neill, shall we? If you were on a board or just had the occasion to look at Alf's records on paper, you'd figure it out in about, I'd say, 33 seconds, that this is someone who is extremely accomplished, highly respected, and simply outstanding. You would see it through his academic excellence. ROTC Distinguished Graduate at Catholic University, SOS Distinguished Graduate, #1 academic graduate at the Weapons School, outstanding Weapons School paper, selection as one of only 8 Air Force officers at the Army School of Advanced Military Studies, selection for the Eisenhower School for National Security, where he earned #1 student at the program in multiple courses, besting the best of our joint officers. You'd see it in his flying performance, called out as the best combat wingman in the squadron and then the best flight lead in the squadron by his squadron commander. Selected to weapons school and then selected to return as a WIC instructor, where he was rated as the #1 instructor pilot in the F-16 in our most dynamic mission, suppression of enemy air defenses. Selection as one of the very first in the service to not only fly the F-35, but to command a flying squadron in the fledgling program. You'd see it in his performance as a leader. #1 of 79 company grade officers, #3 of 107 weapons school majors, #1 of 24 squadron commanders in the vast 53rd Wing, twice rated as the #1 of 45 Joint 06s in the largest section of the Office of the Secretary of Defense, There's a theme here. In the most exclusive company, Alf consistently rose to the top. And those are just a few of the career highlights that you'd never know about unless you downloaded his records or I told you about them. And you wouldn't know because he would never tell you. I met Alf in 2016 when we did Hard Time together at the pen. Those were some rough days. Through all the stress of the job, Alf set himself apart to me in his ability to bring humanity and humility in a place where both seemed in short supply. Alf seemed to live by the mantra espoused by President Harry Truman: you can accomplish anything in life, provided you do not mind who gets the credit. At every turn of his career, Alf has proven himself to be what Jim Collins refers to in his book, Good to Great, as a level 5 leader. He has channeled his own ego needs away from himself and into the goal of building great organizations. The 33rd OG is the last in a series of great organizations that Alf has led and influenced. During the past 2 years, under Alf's leadership, the Nomad Operations Group has made enormous contributions toward the growth of the F-35 enterprise. They've overcome unprecedented challenges, and they've developed leaders for our Air Force. As the F-35 continues to explode on the national defense scene, under Alf's leadership, the 33rd has accomplished a series of firsts, training the first B-Course F-35 students at Eglin, shooting the first AIM-9X and AIM-120 missiles from our jets, using innovative new hot seat turn procedures for the first time, implementing creative radio procedures to expedite aircraft troubleshooting, using simulators to fill training gaps in new and unexplored ways, utilizing new aircraft embedded training to revolutionize airborne suppression of enemy air defense training, and much, much more. Of course, the 33rd OG's contributions to national defense go beyond F-35 training. Over the last 2 years, the operations group oversaw an impressive increase in the amount and quality of intel training as the world's only F-35 intelligence FTU. The OG also led a massive training rewrite of our Air Force Special Operations Intelligence FTU training program. And of course, Alf's leadership shined through during the enormous challenges that were faced by our 337th Air Control Squadron. Thanks to strong leadership at the group and squadron level, the Doghouse recovered from a Cat 5 hurricane to revitalize the Air Force's only Air Battle Manager schoolhouse in just 3 months. And if the hurricane wasn't enough, they quickly recovered from the tornado that struck the same building just months later. Through the challenges, they figured out how to reinvent themselves to enable the largest production of students in 30 years, despite being only 60% manned. Alf's compassionate leadership was critical as his units learned to operate during our current coronavirus pandemic. His group balanced risk to mission and risk to people to keep training moving forward at a responsible pace while most of the country shut down. Along the way, he took care of the airmen and families in his group, and as he and Zoe have done time and again through 23 years as a leadership team. Zoe, you and the girls have been a huge part of this journey, and I know that Alf could not have achieved all the milestones of his career and this assignment without you. You are the unsung heroes of this story. So it is at the culmination of a truly impressive career and a great command assignment that I humbly and sincerely say to Zoe, Marin, Leah, and Alf, thank you for your service and sacrifice. Thank you from all the Nomads for a fantastic command tour. What a great closing chapter for your Air Force journey. The next exciting chapter of the 33rd Operations Group is yet to be written. However, I have full confidence that with Colonel Byron Pomper at the helm and Sandra here supporting the group, the Nomads are in excellent hands. Doghouse, Jokers, Guerrillas, and group staff, it's my pleasure to introduce you to your new commander, Colonel Swede Pompa, and his family, wife Sandra, children Alexandra, Aviana, and Landon, as well as his daughter Lena, who is watching from the University of Colorado. Swede joins us fresh off a year separated from family at Al Udeid in Qatar, working directly for the Combined Air Operations Center commander in theater. Swede has a long record of excellence that's worthy of our trust. He has nearly 3,000 flight hours and 850 combat hours in the F-16. His last command was of the historic Triple Nickel stationed at Aviano Air Base, Italy. He graduated Squadron Command as the #1 Squadron Commander of the 31st Fighter Wing. This command included combat leadership in Afghanistan, where he deployed his squadron of F-16s and executed surge operations to stunt Taliban advances in the country. Swede is a graduate of the Air Force Weapons School, the UK Defense Academy's Joint Service Command and Staff College, and the prestigious National War College. Swede, the Nomads are lucky to have you, and the operations group will benefit from your vast experience. Swede, the future of the 33rd Fighter Wing and your group is exciting. You have an all-star team of squadron commanders, you got a top-notch cast of instructors, and a supporting cast that's second to none. Under your watch, flying operations will double in size as we welcome back the 60th Fighter Squadron to your group. Our doghouse will continue to revolutionize training as air battle management and weapons direction redefines itself. You will see Intel FTUs continue to expand their joint influence on intelligence support at our frontline combat units. Your group will continue to innovate and write the book on future operations and directly influence how the United States prosecutes the unfought battles of our future and deters them from happening. You and your group are up for the challenge. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you, Colonel Wheeler. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the presentation of the Legion of Merit and remain standing for the reading of the retirement order. Marin and Leah, would you please come forward and stand to your father's right to present the Legion of Merit?
Publish the order.
Attention to orders. Colonel Brian P. O'Neill distinguished himself by exceptionally meritorious conduct in the performance of outstanding service to the United States as Commander, 33rd Operations Group, 33rd Fighter Wing, Eglin Air Force Base, Florida, from 26 June 2018 to 17 July 2020. During this period, Colonel O'Neill guided his group through the catastrophic aftermath of Category 5 Hurricane Michael in October 2018. Colonel O'Neill prioritized resources, integrated command and control elements, and relentlessly ensured the safety and well-being of his people. As the squadrons worked to recover from the storm, Colonel O'Neill ensured they always had the resources and top cover they needed to accomplish the mission. A superb team builder, Colonel O'Neill reached out to displaced Tyndall Air Force Base units to determine their needs and find workspace while simultaneously laying the groundwork for integrated F-35, F-22, and T-38 operations at Eglin. Colonel O'Neill declared war on impediments to mission accomplishment and successfully secured 4K debrief capability, advanced video decryption, and a 60% reduction in F-35 thunderstorm proximity restrictions, resulting in an annual savings of 7,000 man-hours and slashing summer weather attrition by 50%. Finally, Colonel O'Neill adroitly steered his group through the unprecedented COVID-19 pandemic, ensuring personnel safety and health, continuing essential missions, in building a culture of perseverance in the face of any adversity. The singularly distinctive accomplishments of Colonel O'Neill culminate a distinguished career in the service of his country and reflect great credit upon himself and the United States Air Force. Mrs. O'Neill, would you please come forward to present the retirement pin? Attention to orders. Department of the Air Force, Washington, D.C., Special Order Number AL-000995, Colonel Brian O'Neill, 3rd Operations Group, Eglin Air Force Base, Florida, effective 30 September 2020. You are relieved from active duty assignment in the grade of Colonel in accordance with AFI 36-3212 by the order of Secretary of the Air Force. Please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, the Commander, 3rd Operations Group Commander, Colonel Brian O'Neill.
All righty. Mask up, please. I'm kidding. No. So I have G-Series orders for a little bit longer, so anyone who works for me and wants to take their mask off, I will not give you an LOR. You can let it drip down the side, or you can keep kind of faking like you're gonna drink, and because you have to have your mask down for that, I'm just saying you might do that. I know I just got COVID from my wife, and I'm okay with it. It's kind of funny listening to that award citation that I don't know who wrote that thing, what they were thinking about. I feel like conditions have kind of changed. Maybe want to get a version 2.0 going to reflect some of the reality. That 60% weather attrition thing, like a little bit of an overshoot. Sorry about that. So I guess 10% truth rule probably applies. All right, so this is the last time I get to do this standing in front of what the Air Force now calls a crowd, which is, by my count-ish, 10 people. We're all awkwardly avoiding each other, despite the fact that we're probably some of the most hygienic and conscientious people around. We're wearing masks just in case, and then there's the imaginary internet audience that's out there, and I'm hoping that depending on the time of the day that they watch this, they've got their bunny slippers on and some coffee, either that or a nice cold drink. But as you might imagine, feeling a little bit conflicted about it. On the one hand, my watch is done, and I get to try to figure out how to stop thinking about the Air Force all the time, and not sleeping so well at night because I'm concerned about, am I doing it right? Am I taking care of folks? What am I missing? So hopefully I can convert some of those hours into a little bit more sleep. But on the other hand, I know I'm not going to be working with the best people that America has to offer anymore. And as you can imagine, that's not something I look forward to. I have really enjoyed sharing, sacrifice, and unity of purpose, and I will miss that. That said, I'm not conflicted about the relief I feel that there's no ice bucket up here, because I intend to talk for a few minutes, and I know my girls are probably like, Dad? Sorry about that. I do have a tendency to talk a little bit long at these things. I apologize. I usually write down what I'm going to say so I don't omit the good stuff and shuffle the bad stuff and riff too long on the wrong things. Despite writing this down, I'll probably do all three, so I'm going to ask for your indulgence ahead of time. So putting first things first, I'd like to thank a bunch of folks and front load the apologies for those that I'm going to forget. Sidewinder and Mark are not here because they're both not feeling well, and yet I know how hard they worked to make this happen. And I appreciate the fact that they didn't do what we need them to do or to not do, and that is they stayed home when they're not feeling well, and that's tough. Like, we all want to get it done, and that means showing up regardless of how you feel. I know that my personal threshold for staying home is basically about a hangnail these days, and I really do appreciate that they stayed home. They can watch this. They know what they did. I know what they did. We all see how hard they work every day. And so it's awesome that they put in the dedication. They hung with me through my kind of stages of grief as I realized what COVID was going to kind of do to today. But I will miss their professional dedication every day. Chief, you don't have to wear a mask back there. That's kind of nice. It's a good deal. Haas, I really appreciate behind the scenes. You guys both work so tirelessly to make my intent a reality. You fill in when I give complete guidance on the days that end in Y, and you take off the load off my shoulders, and you're always helping the teams out wherever they need it. So appreciate that. Boss, it has been great to work with you again. The fact that we are flying jets and wearing fireproof pajamas and actually solving problems versus just appreciating them, it almost makes that last gig in the five-sided pit of despair, wearing blues every day, working for these semi-benevolent slave masters. It almost makes it worth it. Maybe not quite though. Nasty, before last summer, the leadership team around here was always sort of a three-ish legged stool because we never really had a full-time vice that was both seated and invested in the job. The wing runs so much better with your talent and your horsepower. I really appreciate everything you've brought this last year. Dirty, you have made a safe, lethal, and available jet such a consistent experience that we take it for granted. We really do. And I think we just don't realize how good we have it under your leadership every day. Safe, reliable, repeatable. Like you said, that's what I'm going to do, and you did it. Like, I'm glad that no one Manchestered you because they probably would have gotten a punch in the neck back. As one of the few graybeards around here that remembers the days where 6 for 10 was the standard expectation, I can't thank you enough for how you just instilled your discipline and your vision every day, turning that flywheel. You've turned this maintenance group into the most disciplined unit I've seen, and you make it happen. I know it's not easy, but you guys make it look easy every day. Chief Morgan, and I know Chief Fajardo wanted to be here as well. Thank you for leading our airmen with your calm, selfless, humble demeanor. It is truly the embodiment of how a command team should work, so thank you. All right. Mock, Dirt, and Slick, who I think is probably in the sim, and I'll assume Mules is out there waiting with bated breath to load this up. I'll get to you guys in just a minute. All right, these next few thanks are going to be a little bit harder. My father passed away about a year ago. He was not a perfect person, but he lived his faith as best he could, and he provided one hell of an example of nearly infinite patience, kindness, and tireless work ethic. They say that the apple does not fall far from the tree, and Dad was a pretty good tree to stay close to. In his last few years, deferred maintenance and battle damage had rendered his body pretty much code 3, but his mind was still factory fresh. My mother is the opposite of that. The years have been kind to the airframe and engines, but not so to the mission computer. Her dementia is a tragic thing to watch, and even if the pandemic weren't forcing kind of a hollow room today, she probably wouldn't get much out of this show. But she was always there. She made my breakfast, lunch, and dinner. She was there when I got home from school. She was there at every scouting event, swim meet, and cross-country race. Unfortunately, she was also there when her generation taught her that a bar of soap could cure the foul mouth of a young child. I know the best parts of her are represented here today in how Zoe and I have learned to love each other and our 2 beautiful daughters. Tactical pause. Leah, you are brilliant. You are cunningly clever. You and your sister joined this Air Force journey when we were already kind of zigzagging across the sky at 30,000 feet. I hope that the cool opportunities to travel and meet people have been worth the cost of having to move away from them. I love your sense of adventure, your sense of humor, your deviousness, your sense of negotiation, your ability to shake me down for money, and frankly, do it every time. And I really look forward to the adventures that we get to share together, and hopefully without wearing stinking masks all the time sometime soon. Marin, I cannot believe the woman that you have become right before my eyes. I swear it was just yesterday that I still got to read you a bedtime story and tie your shoes. Now you're driving yourself, you're excelling at classes you don't even have to take, and you're earning leadership responsibility at work. I envy the poise and the maturity that you already have at 16. I'm chasing the ladder, and I think I'll get around to it sometime next week. Zoe, I promised, as I'm sure at some point I promised I wouldn't get too gushy talking about you up here today, but as you know, my memory is not the best. 21 years ago, I promised to love you and no other, in good times and bad, until death parts our ways. And in return, you've given me a life richer than I could ever have asked for. You've given me the two most amazing daughters on this planet, and I'm blessed for the fortune in my Air Force career. But I'm keenly aware of the cost to you for every opportunity I've gotten. And I don't think I could have described that sacrifice 21 years ago, but I know that you would have signed on whatever the cost. Thank you. None of this would have been possible without your counsel, love, support, and chicken dinner. I'd hoped to resist the temptation to use this time to talk about the entirety of my career as it draws to a close. I'll find another forum for that as the pandemic recedes. So if you'll indulge me, I have a few more things to say. I'm happy to be turning the 33rd Operations Group over in the shape that it's in, pandemic effects notwithstanding. Mock, you and your team have turned the Guerrillas from an excellent squadron into a phenomenal squadron. You've never settled for good enough, nor have you let the unimportant become an urgent distraction. Your leadership has produced hundreds of new F-35 pilots and instructors, and now 6 brand new fighter pilots. And on their shoulders, we will defend freedom for the next generation, and I'm proud to have been a part of that. Dirt, you and Miles have built our intelligence training courses into the crown jewels of the AETC intelligence enterprise. You forged the first of its kind prehabilitation program by snatching victory from the jaws of bureaucracy. And you opened a new chapter on how we care for our most prized asset, our people. You wrote, rewrote, and most importantly, defended the critical elements of the F-35 syllabus to ensure that we build capability and lethality and not just aviation basics. And I'm proud to have been part of that. Slick and Mules, all right, I'm gonna look at that camera to talk to Slick and Mules. You guys have had a tenure like no other in peacetime. You built and executed a new syllabus with leading edge technology just in time to have the hurricane destroy your base and your homes. The story of how you cared for your people and rebuilt your buildings and resumed your mission and reforged the doghouse deserves to be told over and again, because the leadership lessons you exemplify will make a generation of leaders better. Fast forward about 33.7 minutes later, and now you're fighting to keep hundreds of airmen and their families safe while still accomplishing the mission. The weight of this is crushing, and the pace that the Air Force needs your battle managers is unrelenting. And I know it's never been easy, but you've always excelled, and I'm proud to have been part of that. All right, Chief, Haas, Lauren out in the ether, Mark, Kristen, Sergeant Hester, Logan, Terry, Asia, there we go. And Sergeant Ingram, who I know will be rejoining soon enough. I can't thank you all for making my job so easy. You embody what I'll miss most about the Air Force. It's a group of people who don't know each other. They're told to report for duty working for somebody they don't know, for a mission they haven't done before, but because they're all dedicated to the same ideals, service to their country, excellence in the performance of all duties, and integrity above all else, they form a team, they support each other, they become a family, and accomplish an ever-evolving mission. And I'm definitely proud to have been part of that. Swede, Sandra, I think you'll find that you really have scored a winning lottery ticket. The Nomads of the 33rd Fighter Wing are dedicated to the mission and to each other, and I think you'll find them as welcoming and supportive of the team as any in the Air Force. Your talent and dedication will be key to helping the operations group power through this pandemic to produce the best air battle managers, intelligence professionals, and fighter pilots in the Air Force. Congratulations on your new command. Zoe and I have enjoyed meeting you, and we look forward to your friendship in the future. Okay, time to wrap this up. I'm so incredibly thankful for the opportunity to command a 2nd Air Force Squadron, or organization. I hope it didn't feel like Squadron Command. I really tried to avoid that. I hope I've had a chance to make a positive nudge or two and in people's lives. And pandemic aside, I do think this place is a little bit better than I found it 2 years ago. When I last stood here, I said that I plan to get squadron commanders the resources that they need in order to accomplish their vision, and then to use my resources to clear their path. I hope that's been your experience. And more so, when it hasn't, I hope I've given you a thing or two that you can learn from and build on so you can do it better as you refine your own leadership. As I step away from the Air Force in this relentlessly tumultuous time in our nation's history, I, like you, am deeply concerned. Our nation's bedrock ideal that all humans are equal to all other humans and therefore inalienably, say that one 3 times, deserving of the same rights and freedoms, that ideal is inexplicably still under attack. I was still a teenager when I began my Air Force journey, and so I can't begin to claim that the values that I hold today are anything but a product of my time learning about how to serve our nation over the past 23 years. So I credit the Air Force for helping me understand what I value and what I will continue to dedicate my years on this planet serving. The Air Force has taught me how to be both a citizen of the United States of America and a steward of this great country's freedoms and potential. I'm thankful for that journey because it's clarified what that does and does not entail. While there will always be a broad range of thought on what military service and citizenship are about, we're at a crossroads where decisions and choices will have to be made, hard choices. We will have to choose whether we really believe that integrity means doing the right thing, or does it mean that we grade ourselves by both thinking and acting with unified purpose. To be more specific, is it okay to support beliefs that would hold our daughters back and yet tell them that we love them? Or to tell our female airmen that we support them? Is it okay to wear the uniform from 7:30 to 4:30 but drive home in a car with a Confederate flag sticker in the window? Can we really ever achieve our potential as a military service if we support those that would divide us against each other? We already know that a house divided against itself cannot stand, and that should not be a lesson that we have to relearn. If we are going to stand as citizens and airmen, we have to take a stand. We have to stand for the values that bring us all together. We have to stand against the forces, foreign and domestic, that put any of us down or try to tear any of us apart. We have to stand for the best values that this nation was founded upon. I've tried to do that for 23 years, and I will continue to do so. I'm thankful that so many of our airmen are dedicated to continuing that labor. America and the freedoms this nation stands for need those who truly live our core values: integrity first, service before self, excellence in all we do. I'm proud to have served alongside them and all of you, and I thank you for the opportunity.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the changing of command. Department of the Air Force, Headquarters, United States Air Force, Washington, D.C., Special Order Number ED-20-178, dated 17 July 2020, under the provisions of Air Force Instruction 51-604 and effective 17 July 2020, Colonel Brian P. O'Neill relinquishes command of 33rd Operations Group, Eglin Air Force Base, Florida. Effective 17 July 2020, Colonel Byron R. Pompa assumes command of 33rd Operations Group, Eglin Air Force Base, Florida, by order of Colonel John S. Wheeler. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Commander, 33rd Operations Group, Colonel Byron Pompa.
Distinguished visitors, friends, and family, both here and on the video, it is an incredible pleasure to be here at Eglin Air Force Base to lead 33rd OG Airmen in this most critical mission, training and developing the world's finest F-35 fighter pilots, air battle managers, and intelligence airmen. Colonel Wheeler, thank you for officiating this fantastic ceremony and trusting me to command this proud and storied organization. I pledge that 33rd OG Airmen will be disciplined, professional, and committed to building and sustaining the Special Ops and Combat Air Force's best communities and airmen, and ready to support your priorities. The 33rd OG has always had a history of storied, even legendary commanders. I have had the honor of serving under many of them and learning from them. This, of course, includes Colonel Alf O'Neill. Alf has been an extraordinary commander, instructor, mentor, and friend. Because of his and Chief Gallimore's skillful leadership, the 33rd OG has met every challenge with one constant: professionalism, commitment, and loyalty in developing and graduating the finest airmen. Thank you, Alf, for everything you've done here for the 33rd OG, and best of luck to you, Zoe, Marin, and Leia as you enter retirement and the next stage of your life. The strength of the 33rd OG has and always will be its airmen. The enormity of responsibility and privilege of leading 33rd OG Airmen is not lost on me. I promise to give the best I can offer every day, with full recognition that each airman is equally important, with contributions equally valuable to the organization. I cannot wait to get out with Chief Gallimore to see your operational environment and to see how we can best support you in your critical mission. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank my family, my wife Sandra, daughters Alexandra and Aviana, and my boy Landon. Also my daughter Lena, who could not be in attendance today. Thank you for your constant love and unwavering support to me and the Air Force. I could not be where I am today without you, and would not continue to do what I do without you. I love each of you very much. I will close by reiterating my thanks for this tremendous ceremony and my sincere appreciation to Lieutenant Lorenz, Mr. Mark Joyner, who could not be here today, Sergeant Hester for stepping in, and all the others who helped host this event today. My thanks to Colonel O'Neill, my pledge to tirelessly lead and support the 33rd OG Airmen, and my promise to Colonel Wheeler to deliver disciplined and focused training to fly, fight, and win.
The 33rd Operations Group proudly flies and supports the mission of the F-35. Along with the formal changing of command, we also change the name of the group's flagship aircraft, 748. Please direct your attention to the jet as dedicated crew chief, Seaman Fabian West, proudly reveals Colonel Pompa's name on the side of his jet. The men and women of the 33rd Operations Group are proud to have served Colonel O'Neill and wish him and his family good luck in their future endeavors. We would also like to welcome Colonel Pompa and his family as he assumes his new duties as commander of the 33rd Operations Group. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the playing of the Air Force song and the departure of the official party.